Today, I have the pleasure to talk with Paul Fowler, who is the Vice President of DHL Motorsport. And DHL is a logistic partner of F1. And I have many curiosity about logistics and F1. So I'm really glad to be talking with you. And I'm really grateful that you accepted this interview.
No problem. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Can you explain to me what is your job for F1 with DHL?
Okay, I am the Vice President of Logistics for Motorsport Operations. So that includes not just Formula One, but all the motorsport activity that we're involved in. So Formula One, Formula Two, Formula Three, Formula Academy, World Endurance Championship, Formula E, WRC, etc., etc. So everything that DHL is involved in, the operational part reports into me.
From what I understand, you deliver all the materials of F1 around the world, such as hospitality, TV cameras, cables, safety cars. But do you also deliver the cars of the F1 teams, or does each team arrange the delivery of their own car to the track? Because I know that cars travel by airplane, while all the other materials are sent by boat in advance.
Okay, so every series is different, how they transport their equipment. But Formula One in particular, on the European events, the teams will truck their own equipment from factory to the circuit and back. On the international events, they're not shipped as cars, they're broken down. So you have the monocoque, the front setup, the rear setup, engine covers, etc. Completely broken down, gearbox, powertrain, and they're all broken down and shipped separately. So we're in charge for shipping the cars in special transport boxes for all the international events, but not in Europe. The teams will do that themselves. Now, sometimes there's a mega urgent upgrade or the car's tweaked or changed. In that case, we could be asked, because the factory trucks will leave early, and then we'll add an additional service later. But in general, the rule is in Europe, the teams do it. In internationals, we do it.
Around a week of F1, how many DHL people work on the logistics? Because I imagine you also have people on the ground, for example. If you have problems with customs, do you have dedicated staff for that?
We do. We have, it's over 110, I think now we are, dedicated personnel that handle motorsport only. Now, where it's a triple header, we can't have the same team doing every event. So we will have a dedicated team at race 1 doing the pack up, the dedicated race 2 doing the activation of the race because it's live, and then a team that goes ahead to do race 3. So we separate our teams, but we have about 100 people. But you have to remember, DHL is a 600,000 employee company, so we do rely on our colleagues a lot around the world, but the dedicated staff just for motorsport is about 110.
Has it ever happened that you had logistic problems? For example, if there is an air traffic control strike in the country where you need to deliver, can that be a problem?
It can be. We plan from the issue of the calendar. So we'll take the calendar when it's issued and we'll break that down into the modes, the time and the possibilities. And then we take all the risk out of that. So we will, when you do that, you can only deal with what you know. You can't deal with what you don't know. And in some cases, things like the geopolitical situation we have in the Middle East, the Suez Canal, Ukraine, we had even at the COVID, obviously, world pandemic, we even had a boat that broke into a bridge in Baltimore. That changes all of the logistic flows and it changes our plans and our patterns. But we normally have a plan A, plan B, plan C, so that we can recover quickly once the problem's identified.
And I also think this year, when it was the Spanish Grand Prix, that was one of the first back-to-back races of the season, and there seemed like some teams had some problem to deliver everything to the paddock, like hospitalities, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you've got to. Spain was not the problem. You have to remember Monaco is a hugely difficult race for us. So it's the first European race of the season. So you have a huge transition for the first time of the season, going from an international race being Canada into Monaco. Now, Monaco as a race has a mountain behind us, the sea in front of us, and all the roads in the middle are closed. And we have to move 400 trucks into that province. So that creates its own problems and its own delays. So we arrive later in Barcelona. If you have any problem at all in Monaco, it creates a huge problem on the receiving race, which obviously was Spain in this case. We recovered from it, but some things you can plan and plan and plan, but some things you can't foresee. So,
talking about back-to-back races, since the calendar of F1 is increasing more races, I imagine that for the F1 teams, they need to get some planes way before the event, because as you said before, also when it's back-to-back races, your team, there's not only one team, right?
Correct. For personnel, it's very complicated to get the personnel to move from race to race. For the equipment, most of the teams have segregated the urgent and the non-urgent, and the intelligent, non-intelligent, and the expensive, non-expensive equipment. They have 5 to 7 sets, depending on the team, of sea freight equipment. So we send that ahead. That'll be arriving 21 days ahead of any race. We'll deliver it to the track 14 to 10 days before the race. And then the air freight will arrive 6 to 7 days before, ahead of the race. So all of the telemetry, computer equipment, car equipment, anything that's got data-rich technology on there that they want to see from the previous race will fly, and anything that can be replicated that's inexpensive or non-intelligent, we say, goes by sea freight. So we weave the sea freight sets with the air freight. That reduces the cost and obviously the footprint for sustainability.
I spoke with some people that are in the F1 paddock, and they told me that they will start to dismantle the garage while the Sunday race is still going. Is time that critical? Because do you give a specific deadline to the people working in the paddock and to have all the boxes ready for the delivery?
Yeah, you've got to remember that I'm going to use Austin in Mexico because I'm very proud of this story anyway. So the team will be ahead already installing the garage equipment into Mexico. So what's coming from Austin is the high expensive intelligent cargo or data-rich cargo that's going to fly. So the teams will say, I need these parts first, so they pack them first, and they leave on flight 1, then flight 2, flight 3, and we have 7 to 9 flights depending on the support series. In Austin, when the flag went down, it was 10 hours. We start before the flag goes down, bringing the empty crates and empty boxes around. 10 hours after, 10 o'clock in the morning on Austin, the last piece of cargo was leaving the track of Austin. Okay, so I could see this truck leaving in front of me. At the same time, my phone was pinging, and it was my colleagues in Mexico showing the first trucks arriving into Mexico at exactly the same time. So it's a logistic. I mean, it's military precision logistics, and the timing is everything. So we monitor every part of that process to get it so refined. But honestly, sometimes it astounds me. I get still shocked by the capabilities sometimes.
And if a team doesn't start with both cars like it happened to McLaren in China, do they get to leave earlier, or it's at the same time?
It's all at the same time.
Yeah.
Everyone has to repair or deal with the problem at the next race, but all the equipment packs up and goes at the same time. Again, we that was going on to Japan, wasn't it? So you've got super tight logistics. We can't hold a plane because everyone else will suffer for one team. So everyone goes forward, and then we start sending spares from Woking, where McLaren are, to recover their car.